Curb appeal is not a real estate buzzword. It is a measurable financial reality. Studies from the American Society of Landscape Architects consistently show that a well-maintained, well-designed front yard adds between 5 and 12% to a home's market value. On a $400,000 home, that's $20,000 to $48,000 sitting in the front yard or not sitting there, depending on decisions most homeowners never thought to make. Here's what makes this frustrating. Most front yards don't look the way they do because of money. They look the way they do because of neglect, default choices, and the accumulation of things nobody got around to fixing. 10 fixes. Most cost under $100. All of them are visible from the street the moment someone pulls up. Let's go. Fix number 1. Power wash everything that can be power washed. This is the fix nobody thinks of first, and the one that should always happen before anything else. A front driveway, front path, front steps, and lower facade that haven't been properly cleaned in a year or two carry a layer of grime, algae, and environmental staining that has become invisible through familiarity. You stop seeing it because it accumulates gradually. Everyone else sees it immediately. And it reads, without exception, as a home that isn't being looked after. A pressure wash of the driveway, path, steps, and any rendered or brick facade surfaces costs between $50 and $100 to hire a machine for a day. The transformation is immediate and disproportionate to the effort. Surfaces that looked permanently stained and aged go back to something close to their original finish. The whole frontage reads as cleaner, newer, and more cared for. Do this first, before you spend $1 on plants, paint, or any other upgrade. A clean front yard with no other improvements made looks better than a decorated front yard sitting on a layer of grime. Fix. Number 2, upgrade the porch light fixture. The front door light fixture is the one element that's visible and active every single evening. It's also, in most homes, a cheap brushed nickel half globe or a basic lantern that came with the house. Costs $3 to produce, and looks exactly like it. Lighting communicates quality at a level most people don't consciously register, but everyone subconsciously responds to. A dated, undersized, or builder-grade fixture on an otherwise well-presented entry makes the whole front of the house read as unfinished. Like a good outfit, with the wrong shoes. A statement exterior wall light, a quality black metal lantern, a substantial flush mount in a brushed brass or matte black finish. A contemporary cylinder form in powder-coated steel costs between $60 and $150 from most lighting retailers. It installs in under an hour as a direct swap for the existing fitting. No electrician required in most cases. The fixture should be sized proportionally to the door and wall it's mounted on. The most common mistake is going too small. A generous, confident fixture reads as a considered choice. Having a timid one reads as a placeholder. Fix number 3. Create a defined path to the front door. Most houses have a front door accessible from the driveway or street. Not all of them have a front path that actually invites you toward it. A front entry without a defined path asks the visitor to make a decision. Where do I walk? Across the lawn? Along the side of the driveway? The visual ambiguity makes the front of the property read as incomplete. The entry has no sequence, no arrival moment, no sense that getting from the street to the door was considered as an experience. A defined path, even a simple one, solves this completely. Concrete stepping stones set into the lawn at comfortable stride intervals, a gravel run with steel edge restraints, a paver strip connecting the driveway to the door. The material doesn't need to be expensive, the definition does. A basic stepping stone path using concrete pavers costs between $40 and $80. It creates a sight line from the street directly to the front door, guides the eye to the entry, and gives the front yard a structure that makes everything else read more intentionally. The path is the spine. Build it, and the rest of the front yard organizes around it. Fix number 4. Add matching entry pots with strong planting. The front door is the focal point of the home's facade, and the most immediate, most affordable way to frame and reinforce that focal point is a matching pair of well-planted pots positioned symmetrically on either side of the entry. This is one of the oldest and most effective tricks in residential landscape design. It works because of what symmetry communicates. 2 identical pots, 2 identical plants, placed with deliberate precision says, this was thought about. Compared to a single pot placed casually, or no pots at all, the effect is immediate and significant. The planting matters as much as the pots. Choose 1 structural plant per pot, a clipped ball of buxus or euonymus, a columnar grass, a standard topiary in a simple form. Something with presence and architecture rather than trailing color. These hold their visual impact year-round rather than for one blooming season. Matching pots in a consistent material concrete, galvanized steel, black terracotta cost between $30 and $80 each. One morning to plant and position. The entry goes from ignored to considered in the time it takes to drink a coffee. Fix number 5. Repaint or restain the front fence or boundary wall. The front fence is one of the largest continuous surfaces visible from the street. It runs the width of the property. It frames everything behind it, and in most yards it hasn't been touched since it was installed, which means it's weathered, faded, possibly peeling, and actively undermining the impression of everything inside it. A freshly painted or restained front fence does something that almost nothing else in the front yard can match. It unifies the whole frontage. It makes the yard look contained and complete. It signals loudly, immediately, that this property is actively maintained. Timber fences restained in a deep charcoal or warm cedar tone. Brick walls painted in a consistent render tone. Concrete block walls updated with a masonry paint in a contemporary warm gray. The color choice should connect to the house facade, complementing the main material tone rather than contrasting against it. A standard front fence repaint costs between $30 and $80 in materials. One weekend. The street presence of the property changes fundamentally. It's one of the highest impact, lowest cost fixes available on the entire exterior of any home. Fix number 6. Address the garage door. This one surprises almost everyone who hears it. But for any home with an integral or attached garage facing the street, the garage door is typically the single largest visual element on the front facade. Larger than the entry door, larger than the windows. In many homes, it occupies between a quarter and a third of the total front facade area. And in almost every case, it's a flat, faded panel door. In an off-white or beige that nobody chose, it came with the house and nobody questioned it. Painting the garage door is a one-day project that costs between $30 and $60 in exterior paint and immediately restructures the visual weight of the whole facade. Deep charcoal or black garage doors against a lighter rendered or brick facade create a deliberate contrast that reads as contemporary and designed. A garage door color that matches or closely complements the front door ties the facade together as a coordinated palette. If the door itself is beyond painting warped, damaged, visually beyond recovery, a replacement panel door in a horizontal ribbed profile costs between $500 and $1,000 installed and delivers a facade transformation that looks like a full renovation. Fix number 7. Soften the foundation line with planting. The foundation line, the point where the house wall meets the ground, is one of the most exposed and most ignored junctions in residential design. Where the structure hits the earth with no transition, the house looks like it was placed on the site rather than grown from it. The base of the facade reads as hard, exposed, and unfinished. Foundation planting a bed of low shrubs, grasses, or perennials planted directly against the base of the house softens that junction. It creates a visual transition between the hardscape and the structure. It ties the building to the landscape in a way that makes the whole front of the property read as settled and considered. The key is restraint and proportion. Foundation planting should sit no higher than the windowsill level in most cases. It should frame the house, not obscure it. Dense, low-growing species in a consistent palette, dwarf nandina, evergreen liriope, compact pittosporum, or low ornamental grasses, planted in groups of 3 to 5, not individually spaced. A flat of ground cover plants for a standard foundation bed costs between $30 and $60. The transformation at the base of the house is immediate and changes how the whole structure relates to the ground it sits on. Fix number 8. Remove everything that doesn't belong. This fix has no material cost, and it will do more for the front yard than several of the others on this list combined. It is also the one that requires the most honesty. Walk to the street. Turn around. Look at the front of your house with the eyes of someone who has never seen it before. Not the eyes that have walked past this stuff for 3 years without registering it. The garden hose coiled against the front wall. The cracked pot with the dead plant from last summer. The bin that lives at the side gate because it's easier than moving it. The bike leaning against the fence. The pile of something under the porch that was temporary 6 months ago. Each item sends a signal. Collectively, they say, this is a space where things get placed and forgotten. Remove it all. Store what belongs inside. Dispose of the rest. Then, stand at the street and look again. The front yard will already look better, not because anything was added, but because the noise was removed. Edited space always reads as more expensive than cluttered space. Always. Fix number 9. Upgrade the letterbox and house numbers. Visitors, delivery drivers, and buyers doing drive-bys all look for the same two things before they look at anything else: the house number and the letterbox. And in most homes, both are stock standard items that have been there since the builder left. A plastic letterbox with a chrome number plate nailed to a wooden post. Adhesive vinyl numbers on a rendered wall that have started to lift at the corners. A brushed nickel number that doesn't match anything else on the facade. These are details that nobody chose. They just appeared and stayed. New house numbers in a bold, contemporary font, mounted with considered spacing in matte black or brushed brass, cost between $20 and $50 and take 30 minutes to install. A replacement letterbox that suits the architecture, a vertical slot in a rendered post, a wall-mounted steel box, a timber cabinet with a clean, modern profile costs between $60 and $200. Together, they take less than 2 hours to upgrade. Together, they signal that whoever lives here pays attention to the details. And detail-level attention is exactly what the eye reads as expensive. Fix number 10. Wash the windows and clean every visible glass surface. The last fix on this list is the one that requires the least skill, the least money, and produces a result that is felt as much as it is seen. Dirty windows on the front facade of a home look exactly like what they are. Maintenance deferred, light reduced. A film of environmental grime between the house and the street that makes the whole front of the property look older and less cared for than everything inside it. Clean windows genuinely streak-free. Sparkling clean do something that's hard to quantify but immediately apparent. They make the house look inhabited and alive rather than neglected. Light reflects correctly from the glass rather than diffusing through a layer of grime. The facade reads as sharp and maintained at a level of detail that the eye picks up even from the street. A proper exterior window clean using a squeegee, a good glass cleaner, and a dry chamois costs almost nothing and takes under an hour for a standard front facade. Include the side lights around the front door and any glazed panels in it. Include the garage door windows if they exist. Clean glass is the detail that ties every other fix on this list together. The front yard can be perfectly planted, perfectly edged, and perfectly lit, and dirty windows will sit in the middle of it, reading as the one thing nobody got around to fixing. 10 fixes. The total material cost of doing all of them: the power wash, the path, the pots, the fence paint, the fixture, the letterbox. The numbers lands between $300 and $800 for most homes. A single hour of a real estate agent's time costs more than several of them. The front yard is the only part of a home that every visitor, every neighbor, and every potential buyer sees before they see anything else. It is the first sentence of the story your home tells about itself. And most front yards are telling a story of deferred decisions, accumulated clutter, and defaults that nobody questioned. None of that is permanent. Every item on this list is fixable in a weekend with a modest budget and a clear plan. The principle behind all 10 fixes is the same. Maintenance signals care. Care signals quality. Quality signals value. You don't need to spend a fortune. You need the front yard to look like someone is paying attention. Start with the power wash. It reveals what you're actually working with. Then the clutter removal. Then the path. Those 3 alone will transform how your home reads from the street before a single plant goes in the ground. The rest is refinement. And now you know exactly where to start. More coming. Practical, direct, and built around real results. I'll see you in the next one.